in the house here with us, and we're going to be talking about something very interesting. So, after the elections, there was a mad rush to get married. Everybody's like, oh, I'm getting married, yay, one bit here and there. Yeah, some people getting married twice, as is in our story here today. Sort of.
Wow.
There was a video that popped up during the weekend on social media of a bride-to-be being apprehended by a fiancé whom she wasn't getting married to on the day. Now, she was in all wedding dress and everything. She was in a vehicle heading to her wedding, and she was apprehended by another fiancé whom she wasn't getting married to. The story is long. Apparently, that one, she had promised marriage, and that person had given her certain sums of money in anticipation of their union or stuff like that. He came out and like, no, this marriage is not going on. She collapsed on the ground, spoiled her wedding dress, and then the story continues. I don't know if they got married
angle to
eventually.
the story that I saw, because, you know, they didn't give us the gist.
Not really.
But basically, the husband wouldn't be next to her if they hadn't gotten married. I think they had gotten married. We're heading to the reception.
Oh.
That's why the husband was there. Because the husband wouldn't be there if they had, you know, they were just about to get married.
That's another.
So
way.
I'm thinking that's it.
Yeah. But according to sources, that's like you.
The sources didn't give the story. It was all sketchy.
So now, whenever I see things like this, I really want to know the whole story. It feels like there are too many gaps in this story.
I don't want to know.
And I've just heard too many times of men lying about things like this and what the actual promissory note was. Who knows? Who knows if, you know, maybe she had actually told him no.
Initially,
insisting, yes. Who knows if he was using the money to sort of lure her to stay. I'm just saying there's so many angles.
There's so many angles.
But allegedly, you know, she was intercepted along the way, whether to the maybe to the reception or maybe to the venue by a second.
It wasn't stated actually.
My question now is, why it's always such an issue when it's a woman in this position?
Oh, of course it's an issue.
If it was a guy,
yes, would gloss over it.
I don't think it would have been such news, and it feels a little. I don't know.
I'm not trying to be sure of this.
I really felt.
Mary had a very interesting story from 8 years ago.
Yes, about
Listen
8
to
years
this.
ago. You know, there's this segment I used to have, Solace Calls, where I reach out to people and all. And I made a call to a woman whose husband asked me to wish her a happy birthday. So I read the message, and I asked her for, before I read the message, I asked her for her husband's name, which is customary, what I do on the show. And she gives me a name, and it's not the name I have. And so I read the message, and then I ask her, this message is actually from this person.
Not that.
And then the next thing she asks, which most of them ask, is, are we on air? And I'm like, no, we are not. We are not live. And then she goes, well, that's my husband too.
Wow.
And I'm like, I was taken aback for like 2 seconds. And I was like, when you say your husband too, are you married to 2 men? She said yes.
This is a Nigerian woman.
A Nigerian.
In Lagos or where? What state?
I'm not giving details because I don't want our husband to be watching now and start getting suspicious, because she gave us the states as at that time. In fact, I can still remember the state her second husband was living. I still remember his name, but I don't remember his full name.
Okay, so how did this happen?
So what happened was, apparently she got married in Lagos. The husband insisted on marrying her first before sending her to school. After that, she went to school, then went for NYSC in another state, far from home, and fell in love. Now, meanwhile, she already had 2 children for her first husband. So falling in love in the camp, she didn't tell a new guy about the fact that she had been married before, or she is married. And she had to cut the long story short. Both of them got married again. She claimed she didn't have any family. They didn't take care of her. Like, she just came up with some story for the guy.
She got married to another person.
And then she came back home. She now started shuttling. She claimed it was business.
Goodness.
Oh, wow.
She had 2 children for the one in the other states, and still had 1 more for the one in Lagos.
Wow.
So I had to ask her, why aren't you ending this relationship? At least let one of them know and let that person go. She said the problem is she has happy marriages.
Wow.
The other one is completely blissfully unaware, and her first husband also doesn't know anything.
Wow.
So
managing.
So I was very curious about how she was managing, and she said it was pretty easy.
With children for both men.
It was pretty easy. According to her, all she had to do was register for courses in that place, and since the husband knew that's where she served, she made it clear that it was easier for her to get the courses done there. Wow. So she would travel, and then she was still doing business as well. She was selling gold, and oh my God, I'm giving too much. But you get the idea. So because of that, she was able to stay there long enough to have children. So sometimes she could even come back to Lagos, but her husband probably won't know that she's pregnant because sometimes men are oblivious to these things. You know. And so by the time she goes back, she has the baby there. I thought it was the biggest mess I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think she is a criminal, first of all. Let me just put it out. She's the biggest criminal, and she when they say men are scum, men are scum.
Oh, wow. Really? You know?
That she takes the cake.
Like, our oldest child in 2015 was 22 years old, about to get married.
Yeah, but she...
Guys do it all. Haven't you heard of men having different families in different continents?
And then we're casted for it. We're insulted. I'm not saying I espouse to these habits, but you can imagine kind of vitriol that comes with that. Now, for a woman to successfully have two, supposed to be a good thing. Two happy marriages. She is good at this. She's criminal. She's like how to get away with murder type woman. You know, I mean...
Well, so I think people are they ultimately just want to be happy. And whatever they use to find that happiness at that point in time, they're oblivious to everything.
Wrong, Titi. I disagree with you. It's a mental issue. If you go back to how she grew up, there was something lacking which she now wants an overdose of. Okay. And that's what's causing this. You might not see this, but things as simple as... So are you saying
the guys that have multiple...
She married young. Let's remember that. She married young.
Yeah, but the seed here is indecision, which is a mental issue, quite frankly, where you can't decide what you want, what you do. It's a mental thing. That can drive you crazy. We've all been in that instance. And for this woman not to be able to decide, should I tell this man, I don't want to get married to you, I don't want to be married to you again because I found love. She wanted that selfishness of the highest order. She should be arrested for that.
Break the first man's heart. He sent her to school.
At the end, imagine the impact. Imagine the impact. What happens at the end when he finds out?
No, they have 3 now. She had 2 before going for NYC. Then still had 1 more for him. So that's her new husband.
So she can't leave the first one.
He's gonna kill over when he finds out. I mean, that's just.
So it's complicated. Yes,
because of the parents.
And she cannot, break up with the second one because that's the one she actually loves. So it is complicated, but let me just mention this. I need to mention this. Many people do not know that in Nigeria, it is a crime, as in crime.
It is a crime.
To break an engagement.
Oh, hang on, I didn't know that.
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow.
And it is also a crime. Bigamy is a crime, except in Lagos.
Yeah.
And Lagos, your divorce must be in courts.
All right.
So you guys need to know all these facts. Very important.
We would love to hear your opinions on this. Use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC. Let's hear what you think. We'll be back with more.
Poor guy.